So challenges during the early stages. These are listed a few here, more detailed versions of some of the general points which we just reviewed there. So I'm going to flick through a few of these as you all have copies of them there. So memory lapses take words from me. These are usually names of things. And another example from memory problems is I lose track of what I'm trying to say. Letter writing is difficult too because I can't remember how to spell familiar words, or they don't look right. One of my friends who he does not have Alzheimer's disease or dementia or anything like that. He's only in his 20s, but he says that writing the word blind looks strange to him. I'm sure that everyone has a word in their vocabulary when they write this word, they look at it and they think, my God, I did not spell that right. That looks really weird and odd. But if you imagine writing on a regular basis and having those types of feelings about the words that you're writing can be very frustrating if you put yourself in the shoes of an individual who's experiencing this. So I can completely understand why we're seeing some of the decline in communication or some of the examples of decline in communication like we are. So here's some more quotes that are really powering what we just went over. I need people to speak a little slower on the telephone, and I need a little more time to respond. So you need a little more time to process what has been said and then to formulate a response. So it's to bear with that time and give as much time as needed to this person. So sometimes I make unexpected word substitutions, and often the word is close, and by not fitting as the one I had hoped to use before, it disappeared. Sometimes I have problems finishing sentences. So as much as repetition in words and things like that, it's often like said here, similar words can be placed in, and it's to move forward and not correct, but to connect with this person and understand that this is just a slight memory lapse for them, and you can just move forward with that. There's no need to correct them if you understand what they have said. Even though there may be a word in there that's not right, I'm sure you could still probably get the general grasp of what they're saying there and not need to correct them on that. So communication tips for caregivers. This is a really great set of slides here, and we were talking about a few of the things, but it's nice to go into some more detail here. Reduce distractions. So communication is easier if there's not other things happening within the room, such as a television or a radio or anything like that. So by reducing our distractions, we're hopefully able to interact and communicate with the person who we're caring for a bit better. Gain attention. So face the person front on and ensure them that you are engaging in conversation with them and really make known to them that you want their attention. Be aware of your tone and body language. Like I said, calm, still, and speak in a relaxed voice. These hurried moments and sharp, loud noises and things like that can be cause distress and can be unsettling in things. So speak clearly and slowly with our simple sentences. The same as I said earlier with our step-by-step, moving one step at a time and completing one to the other. It's the same with our open-ended questions here may result in unnecessary information and may require more effort on the part of the person. So our yes and no questions may be a bit more simple. Be respectful. So use the person's name. Do not patronize or speak down to the person, and don't talk over the person. They may still understand what is being said, even though they've lost the ability to form the words that are in their mind. So it's never nice to experience someone talking about you while you're in the room. And I'm sure that no one ever likes to experience that, and neither would someone who's diagnosed with this disease. So make sure to keep the respect there, and that's always a really major one for me. And listen carefully. So Like we said earlier, give time. They may take a bit to form the sentence and get all the right words out there if they want to, but give them time to try. And if they are trying, then they want to be able to get through forming this sentence. So just give them the little time they need. And along with giving time comes patience, because we all know that they go hand in hand. And if the person senses that you are impatient with them, then they may become stressed or frustrated over this. Encourage exchange. So you can make communication a two-way process. Stimulation is always nice. It's don't make assumptions, and check back with the person to clarify. And encourage humor and laughter. So humor can essentially bring you closer and release tension. And laughter is simply good therapy. So this is the slide that I always like to meet the person where they are and accept their new reality. Sometimes a person with dementia's perception of reality may become confused. And despite that, it is still their reality, and it is still the life that they are living on a day-to-day basis. So trying to bring them to your reality or disagreeing with that person will cause frustration and just escalate the situation and make your job as a caregiver much more difficult. So it's always to remember to connect with these individuals and be in their reality and be on the level that they are, rather than to correct them. So to summarize communication here, it's obviously a very important part of every day. And communication changes when people experience memory loss can be difficult, but there are many ways to positively cope with this and move forward with the communication. And there are ways we can continue to communicate effectively. So we're going to move on to the next part of our presentation now, which is on our coping strategies. So an overview here on our coping strategies would be, we're going to talk about some of the effects of dementia, our common reactions and feelings again, different coping strategies, and our Safely Home program, which is a really great program to be involved with if you're a caregiver. So the effects of dementia, I feel like I'm always on repeat when I say this, but each person is as unique as the disease, and the journey will be different for each and every person. So family dynamics are different for all families, and each family member within that family can be affected differently. And then you take what is relevant to your situation from this presentation as well, because not everyone will be facing the same issues or at the same stage or in the same order. So it's always nice to remember to take what is relevant to you and use that positively. So it's important to remember that, again, people experience a variety of emotions, and the changes that they are experiencing are caused by the disease. So there will be good days, and there will be those not as good days as well. The impacts of dementia affect the whole family, not just the individual and their spouse or whoever it may be that's caring for them. So it's spouse, it's children, it's grandchildren, it's friends, it's everyone in your social network. Each family member may be at a different stage of acceptance at each given time as well. So it's all about that personal process too. Some of our common reactions and fears, again, to speak about that, is it may be difficult accepting the new changes in roles. As a caregiver as a spouse takes over the role as a caregiver, or as a child takes over this role, or whoever it may be. And it's important that you are sensitive to the range of emotions you and your family members may be experiencing. So it's as others may not cope or accept the diagnosis in the same manner that you do, it's always good to remember that they have their own process for accepting this diagnosis, and to respect that, because you do need to stay together and support each other as a family, and try not to come up against each other in this, because the better and more positive situation is to be together and to be supportive of your loved one who has received the diagnosis. And I just want to say a side note here, because for our PCA students, we're talking a lot about our caregivers' role and our family members' role and things like that. But as I mentioned there, you take away what is relevant to you. So you take away from this presentation how you are going to apply this as a PCA worker in a care home, interacting with the families at that level or interacting with the patient at that level. So just wanted to mention that to you guys so you could relate to the presentation. To speak about intimacy for a little bit here for the caregiver, everyone, of course, has a need for companionship and our physical intimacy, our handshakes, pat on the back, hug, or sexual relations between spouses and partners. And relationships can oftentimes become more complex with changes that are brought on by the disease. And then talking about intimacy and sexuality can often be difficult. We do have several different information brochures and sheets here at our society, which we provide to community members, caregivers, families, and friends. And we have a sheet specific on intimacy. And if anyone would like any of these materials afterwards, they are on display out here, or for those online, they can be mailed out. So coping strategies for the person with dementia. This is always nice to share. It's educate yourself. So as much as you're, as a caregiver, wanting to learn about this disease, maybe you're, the person that you're caring for really wants to know about this as well. So learn about the disease. There's reading materials and articles available online through our National Society's website or through our website. And we also have a vast social media platform in place. And we have our resource library here in our office, which the same as you would a public library, you can sign books and DVDs and all those different resources out from to take the time in your own home and educate yourself. And then, of course, learn from the experience of others like we are here today. This is a learning and sharing opportunity, and we also have a family support group for individuals who are caring for someone with the disease to come together and have that same experience. These are coping strategies to share with the person with dementia. So it's nice to encourage to let others help them with the finances, with jobs around the house, with transportation and shopping. So after a certain point, maybe maybe the day-to-day activities are becoming a bit more challenging and you're finding it more difficult to manage your bills and your household and things. So as someone who's diagnosed with the disease, it's nice to be able to accept that you are at this stage and open up to your family and friends who you have as a great support system, and they know about the disease. So they're accepting to help you, and maybe it's even just someone down the street cooking you a meal so you don't have to for supper this week type thing. So it's always nice to remember to not be afraid to ask for help and to ask for it when you need it. Our practical tips here for someone with dementia: focus on completing one task at a time. So stick to one job. I'm terrible for trying to do 3 things at once, and I'm in 3 places at once this morning, I swear. But keep it simple and just do one thing at a time. We're always rushing and trying to do so many things and be in so many places at once. Just focus on one project or one craft or one house chore and get that one done from start to finish, and then move on to another. Write things down. So if you're finding that you're forgetful of an appointment or anything like that, a large whiteboard to display the day of the week, the weather, and the appointments coming up that day, places you need to be, may be very helpful. Right, avoid too much stimulation. Stimulation is a great thing, but being out too long without rest and things like that can cause problems for later in the evening with symptom type related things such as sundowning disorder and things like that. So there are many benefits to stimulation, but too much, of course, can be a bit straining. Use a dispenser for medication. That's a good one, just to keep it on track, keep it organized, and keep it simple. Monday through Sunday, each one goes in there, and you open that one up, and the pills are gone, then the medication has been taken, and you move on to the next day. And if you forget something, don't dwell on it, move on, because if not, you're just going to keep worrying about it over and over again, and just work yourself up over it when it's just nothing to be worried about. And focus on what you can do and not what you cannot do.